From Wall Street to Main Street, this is Lalate.
Good evening, everybody. It's Evenings Lalate. Thank you for joining me on the one-year anniversary of this channel. I thank you for joining me as we have experienced an incredible first year. In tonight's Evenings Lalate, we look back on the first year of this channel and the forced stimulus check that could be landing in your bank accounts. Those monthly stimulus checks under the forced stimulus package. The third stimulus check with a new exclusive tonight, only on Evenings Lalate, about another wave, a seventh wave of stimulus checks landing next week. Also, he looks forward to the fifth stimulus this fall with the incredible SSI and SSDI reform. Meantime, we look back on some of the footage you've never seen on this channel that looks back on how we changed history and how we came together as a family to find comfort through this pandemic. I show footage you've never seen before on this channel, and that footage will look back on what happened during the first months of this pandemic and how we came together as a family. I have all that and more as we go into a beautiful evening across the board. This is a wonderful night as we celebrate the one-year anniversary of Evenings Lalate and of this channel. Thank you for joining me on this incredible run as a family, and this is the one-year anniversary of Evenings Lalate. Good evening, everybody. It's Evenings Lalate, and hope you are having a beautiful night in a brisk Sunday evening as the Oscars are unfolding. I'm so excited you're here. In tonight's recording, we go over the fourth stimulus check, the monthly stimulus checks you're going to get starting in the month of July. That third stimulus check, yes, there's another wave coming. And we turn to the fall as SSI reform is coming for us finally as a family. And we look back on footage you've never seen before, celebrating the push that only became Purple Power. I look back on footage you've never seen before that celebrated how we came together as a family and how we got through this pandemic and got to the other side of the finish line. If you've not subscribed, I would encourage you to do so and become part of the incredible family. 1 year anniversary today on this channel. Also, like this video, and if you've not become a member, consider becoming a member. Purple Hawk, Purple Power, and Calcino VIP. Let's go into the evening with the incredible great news about forced stimulus. Forced stimulus got not one, but four incredible pushes last week. And those incredible pushes will continue next week for those forced stimulus checks. These are checks that would start in the month of July and be the single biggest payout you've ever seen for this viewers of this channel. How does this work and what are the amounts at stake? Let's go over the details and then I'll go over the specifics. The stimulus checks would start in both the House and then head over to the Senate. House members want to give you a stimulus check every month through the rest of the pandemic and then continuing 1 year thereafter. The senators want to give a stimulus check from now to December, so a little bit less months. And then who are the movers and shakers? The House members are progressives. The senators are moderates, but they have a lot of other items they're going to likely put into the fourth stimulus package. And then the amount of the monthly stimulus checks. The House members want to pay $1,000 per month after the first month of $2,000. The senators, the amount is unknown, but word on the street is it looks like this. $2,000 a month for 6 months between July and December, that would pay you $12,000. Or $1,400 a month over 6 months, that would pay you $8,400. It would be the single biggest payout for viewers of this channel. And yes, you're looking at a single individual's payout. $12,000 or $8,400 over 6 months, to which the questions unfold. Number one, when would we get the first check? July. What would the first check be for? For the month of July. When would the vote be? In July. Do we know exactly the date? Leader Schumer and Speaker Pelosi say July 4th. And then the questions unfold. Who would get these checks? If you make less than $75,000, this is you. If you are a married couple, $150,000 or less, this is you. Also, if you are on SSI or SSDI, Social Security or Rural Benefits, this is you. Income qualifications are the same as a third stimulus package. And finally, does this count towards income? No, it's not income. It's a stimulus check. It's not a taxable event. It would not qualify or disqualify you from any type of benefits. And so away we go. Viewers have wondered, likelihood, very likely, after 4 major events last week. And I have big details coming up later in this recording explaining why the data coming next week will also be very important. Number one, first, we saw no bipartisan support likely to ever happen. Number two, we saw that the economic rebound in the country is robust, but not at a faster rate than initially thought or feared. And then number three, the Federal Reserve is stepping in and saying, we're not changing our support of this economy. All right, let's go back to each of those items one at a time. First, we learned last week that there won't be bipartisan support. While the president may talk about it, it's not going to happen. When the fourth stimulus was first debuted, the Republicans made a counterproposal. No $2 trillion price tag, no climate, and then they said, we'll give you $600 to $800 billion for the infrastructure. This last week, they pulled back and said, after 2 weeks of negotiations, we're offering you less. $2 trillion, no. Climate, no. $600, $800 billion, no, we're not even offering that anymore. Now we're going down to $500 billion. Away we go to reconciliation. The only process that would give you those monthly stimulus checks, and that reconciliation process is heating up. Number two, we learned last week that the economy is rebounding, but not at a growth rate initially feared. Remember, we were unsure if the economy was going to be fully rebounded in December or July. We had always thought just December. But 2 weeks ago, the unemployment claims came in, and they were 250,000 lower than the week before. 500,000, causing us to worry, were we going to go to a 250 this week? We did not. We stayed relatively flat, showing that our recovery is not till December, signaling stimulus is going to the door. With that, 8 million jobs still remain existing, unfilled, unrestored since the pandemic started, and 16 million Americans are still unemployed. So with that, those three economic factors, one, no bipartisan support. Number two, the Federal Reserve still supporting the economy. And number three, no bipartisan support signals we're going to the finish line. When will this start and when will it end? The reconciliation process has to start by early May and will have to start by early May and end by early July. Now, the excitement was not done there. We then got the incredible excitement this week about SSI reform. Boy, as this channel turns 1 year old today, I'm just looking back and thinking, when I was on that beach and I was making recordings about SSI and SSDI, I had 100 subscribers. I had 100 people tuning in, very few people watching me, but I made one video about you. I made several videos about you, but I made one particular video about you because no one else was addressing you. SSI and SSDI, are you going to get the benefits you're desired? And that video went viral. It went viral. In our first month of this channel, newborn with 100 subscribers, 3 million views, no one in the history of YouTube had ever gone viral with just a few hundred subscribers to 3 million views. In fact, no one in this financial space has literally almost ever had a viral video go 3 million views, except me. But why? Because of you. The message was about you, that people need to speak about your concerns and your needs and your benefits. And while we heard those during the campaign trail, we heard them during the transition papers, we did not hear them in January for third stimulus, causing a lot of people concern. And that concern changed this week. As this channel approaches 1 year anniversary, in a way, you almost got a gift. Not from me, but from those congressional leaders. Even though that I had been treating, and you had been treating hashtag SS200 for every single day for over a year, finally our wishes were answered. As this week, nearly 20 plus Democrats wrote the letter that changed history. That letter said, we need to reform SSI, and we're going to reform it in the fifth stimulus package. That fifth stimulus package is this September. That fifth stimulus package will go by reconciliation, and that fifth stimulus package heats up this fall. What did they say for this fifth stimulus package, and what are they doing? These are Democrats, and they're pushing for SSI reform in the fifth stimulus package this fall. That fifth stimulus package has a price tag of $1 trillion before we get to SSI reform. What is it? Let me go over broadly what it is, and then I'll go over the specifics. Benefits levels will be increased, asset levels will be increased, inflationary benchmark will be added, income exclusion removed, and marriage penalty removed. All right, let's go over the details. The details are very simple to understand because that's how I do the programming on this channel. Informative, educational, fun, but also easy to understand. What are they going to start with? First, they're going to take your benefits and raise them up. Raise them up to a big, bold new number. This is your new number going forward. Yes, you'll never see lower. You'll never decrease. You can always increase. This will be your big new number. And viewers have asked me, what if I'm on a couple benefits? All your benefits will be raised. So if you're getting 2 checks a month, all your checks will be raised. Number 2, then they're going to tie you to a new benchmark. Every December, you get a letter from Social Security Administration that says, hi, your SSI, SSDI, Social Security, railroad benefits, veterans benefits have increased next year to 12 cents from the year before. 12 cents? What do you mean 12 cents? Well, you were tied to COLA that never moved. Gas, eggs, milk went up, and COLA wouldn't move. That nonsense is ending. And they're going to tie you to inflation. Inflation is what's indicative of eggs, milk, and gas. And as inflation goes up, your benefits will go up every year. What's anticipated? The feds are anticipating a 2 to 3% interest rate, 2 to 3% inflationary rate over the next 2 years. So you're definitely going to see 2 to 3% increase of your benefits each year. And that's just a start. Then we have more excitement after that. They're getting rid of the asset cap. The asset cap dates back to the Reagan administration, 1984. And the asset cap required you to to not keep more than $3,000 on hand or fall off of benefits. They're getting rid of that. But the big exciting news on top of all this is additionally this one, the income exclusion going away. If you wanted to work, you don't have to work, but if you wanted to work, you couldn't because you would fall off of benefits. They're getting rid of that. They're going to allow you to work $2,000 a month and keep that money, $24,000 a year, and still stay on benefits. And finally, if you have been hit by the marriage penalty, you know what it is. They're getting rid of that as well. Incredible, great news. That fifth stimulus is heating up this fall, and that fifth stimulus is among the incredible items that's happening in the fifth stimulus package. To recap, fourth stimulus is starting now. It's going to start recon very soon, and it goes to the finish line in July. That's the American Job Plan, the Recovery Act, and also the infrastructure bill. The fifth stimulus is this fall. That's the American Family Plan, also the second plan of the president, and it's the one that's going to be debuted this Wednesday. Student loan debt forgiveness is heating up as people are wondering what happened to that Miguel Cardona letter. It was due 2 weeks ago, and now people are wondering, broadcast media, after I've been hammering it and you have been hammering, wondering where that letter was. That letter was ordered from the president now 3 to 4 weeks ago, asking Mark Cardona to determine whether a president can forgive student loan debt by executive order. He can. Obama did it, Trump did it, but the letter has yet to be produced, and now broadcast media is trying to ask, where is it? What's going on? So be on top of that. Next week, the wealth tax heats up as well. The wealth tax heats up with Elizabeth Warren as she has a congressional hearing about it. Remember, that is what could pay for SSI and SSDI $200 add-on. And then Ron Wyden is heating up. I certainly believe that Ron Wyden's idea and new bill introduced to the Senate will get into the fourth stimulus package. What is it? It's to replace PUA, which is going away in September. Remember, in September, PUA, FPUC, and PEUC are all going away. So Wyden proposes $250 a week for up to 6 months per year, $6,000 per person, if you're a PUA type recipient right now. Because PUA, once it expires, you'll have no relief. He seeks to fix that. Meantime, coming up after the commercial break, you will see footage which I personally have not seen myself either since it was originally recorded. This was footage shot in July of last year for what would have been the 3rd-month anniversary of this channel. I look back on the footage and together as a family with you, and we also look at how people were standing and acting around the footage at the time it was shot. Very indicative of how America reacted to the pandemic when we were in the month of July. Did we not take it seriously enough? And what was my message then? And what is the message today? Also coming up after this commercial break, big updates also about what's happening with 4th and 5th stimulus. Stay with me. I'll be back just after this commercial break, but here's a little bit about the community page. If you want money right now, not 5 days from now, and not 5 weeks from now, then reach out to the community page. The volunteers can help you find that money for rent and utilities. That's at news.la.com/community. The community page features a series of volunteers who are viewers like you. They can help you find rent, utilities, SNAP, food benefits, mortgage assistance, and help you with eviction moratorium questions as well. Their Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram individuals reach out to them and indicate the city and state you're from, and they'll get back to you shortly. That's a community page. Volunteers working for you, viewers helping one another. Stay with LA for more. Join Lalate Daily for the excitement of the new Lalate live daily. The excitement starts on mornings Lalate at 9 a.m. Home Lalate returns at 11 a.m. daily. And then afternoons Lalate at 1 p.m. Join us daily as the excitement continues live from Santa Monica on Lalate. And the excitement continues right now on Lalate. Thank you for joining me on a big night of Evenings Lalate as we celebrate our 1-year anniversary. I'm so excited you are here and rejoining me on a big night across the board. Coming up after this is LA Late Night at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time with your latest Laugh a Minute from Sirloin and Javita Late. They will rejoin us as we look upon a new year of this channel. Thank you for joining me as we look back on everything that has transpired. How are you? It's a big night and I'm so excited you have joined me. Hope you're having a beautiful night. In this recording, I want to look back and look together and see what happened in those first few months of this channel. This channel launched on April 25th, in the thick of the pandemic. I held up a camera and started to record on an empty beach, and I really didn't know what was going to happen. My reason for turning on the camera was because people were not getting money from the federal government that they were owed under the first stimulus package. They didn't know where it was, and they didn't understand why they didn't get it. And then a lot of people didn't know a lot of other money that was about to go live, like FPUC and PUA were about to go live. So people didn't have clarity how they would get it. Let's listen back on that footage, which I've never seen until today. This was footage that was shot in July of 2020 for what would have been our 3-month anniversary. I never aired the footage for a series of reasons, but today I'm airing it, and I'm going to watch it with you for the first time. Let's watch it together and see how we reacted to the news.
Pandemic, the lockdown was in place, and nothing was around except me and blue oceans. That incredible sea urchins were coming in from the ocean, creating an incredible blue backdrop. And this was the twist and turn that you continually saw during those early days of recording. It was this building that a lot of people asked, is that where you live? No, it's not where I live. But it created an incredible backdrop and an incredible night in which everything, including skateboards, were crashing right behind me. So there you were. This is where it all began.
Initially in that footage, when I saw it, I thought, my goodness, this was July. The pandemic was several months in. We had just come off of a lockdown since March, July 2020, and people were not wearing masks and thinking the COVID was really a joke. Really surprising.
Middle of April, there was literally no light out here except a few lamps from this building. And so what you often saw me do is twist and turn like this to find any source of light to give you the message. But ultimately what you saw was me reassuring you that you would ultimately get the money you were entitled to. Initially, it was EIDL, and the concern that no one was getting anything from EIDL, PPP, or all the first stimulus packages in those early weeks of the pandemic. Here, this is the Hermosa Beach Pier, and this was the backdrop, an empty hotel that provided the only lighting to really capture the moment, a time in which no one was getting money. The stimulus packages had been issued, but everything was not working. No one was getting their checks, no one was getting their grant, and no one was getting their loans. But more importantly, no one was helping them.
What's fascinating about this footage, watching it now, is that this is not pre-COVID. This was in the thick of COVID. This was July of 2020, after California had already been several months into the pandemic. We had our lockdown lifted, and you see how no one in this video behind me was wearing a mask. No one was social distancing. No one was taking the pandemic seriously at the time. Very surprising looking back at this footage from July of 2020.
I had come down to this area that was essentially empty, gone to a local bar, which at that time only had drinks to go, and donned the earbuds, which essentially are microphones for this recording, and broke my nerves by having a couple drinks to start recording. It would normally have been a day in which I would go there, the Hermosa Beach Pier, and enjoy the sights and settings with a few drinks. But ultimately the concern started to settle in that no one was getting their money, no one was getting their grants, no one was getting their loans, and there was no one explaining to people how to get the money. How would you get the money? Was there something inherently wrong going on, or could we solve the process?
Oops.
Another reality TV star that I was friends with was privately DMing me about her problems with the PPP loan, and surely I quickly found out that a lot of people were just not getting anywhere with the first stimulus package, that no one was answering their questions, and that maybe there was a grounds to really explain what was happening. And so while this would normally be my backdrop, it slowly turned into something more. Really trying to figure out how to navigate this confusion about checks, packages, stimulus, money, grants, and loans in the middle of a pandemic. And ultimately, we started to make inroads. What we saw were a lot of the initial applications were done incorrectly, that people had put the wrong numbers in the wrong places. Simple little tricks, simple little errors. And then in the world of pushing papers and pencils, those simple errors sometimes cause major problems. We fixed those, and suddenly we made progress. We went from a few hundred subscribers to a few thousand because people were seeing that we were getting their applications processed and approved and getting the money which they dramatically needed. It became very telling quickly on when so many businesses said, "Thank you, you saved us." They were literally about to close their doors. And so slowly we found out that there really was a concern to help people that no one was helping, and that one another we could help a lot more.
The spirit of the channel quickly became one in which people were helping one another. I had implored viewers that if I helped your business, you would help other businesses. And that's what we started to do. We learned that people were really on the brink of losing everything. And I had people like a dog groomer in Denver that literally had the husband doing the payroll for Tuesday and getting her EIDL approved on Monday and getting funded by Monday, literally 24 hours before he was going to have to let people off and go. And then I had a shipper who did a lot in the boating industry down in South Florida. And he was about to let go a series of all his employees that would impact their families, their children, and it would have just been catastrophic. And we were able to get those grants approved. Tons and tons of money was approved because of this channel early on. 20 to 30 to 40 million dollars in EIDL loans approved because of just this channel, and in a very short period of time. But why did I never air this original footage when I shot it? It was shot in July, 3 months into the pandemic, and it was supposed to be a celebration of the first 3 months of what we were doing. It wasn't aired because of what's about to be shown right after this. The footage is not unusual. You have heard this narrative in some of the other retroactive videos. But at the time I shot it, I thought it was not a message to deliver because we were starting to go into the thick of the pandemic. The virus was spreading, and I thought it was not a potentially positive message, that it was a sad message. But now that we can look back and understand what we got through together, we can deal with the severity of the message that I'm about to deliver.
Done so much, and few people know really how much we have done. We have literally saved hundreds and hundreds of businesses. Literally minutes before I pressed record on this camera, another person DM'd me who had contacted me earlier today, said he had got to nowhere in 6 weeks of applying for first stimulus package money. This is in the case of an EIDL loan. And this evening he has an offer. He has an offer that will save his business. We have saved hundreds, if not thousands of people and their businesses in the matter of just a few weeks. The amount of money that we've gotten people is somewhere between $5 to $25 million that they were owed but had not received, but for a very confusing process that had gone off the tracks. We stayed with them, we educated them, and we informed them, but along the way, we tried to keep them laughing and smiling. I mean, loans can only be watched so much, and so you had to keep people interested in whether it was a stimulus, whether it was a check, whether it was SSDI or SSI, you had to keep them entertained. And we did things people said you're not supposed to do. We had introductions and blends on the ocean. We had theme song. We had personalities. We had sketches. We had things that people just don't inherently are not educated or formed to do when they launch a channel. And sure enough, we did exactly the opposite. Our purpose was to keep people informed and educated and keep their spirits up. And shortly early on, we had a breakthrough. The breakthrough came just a few days into our launch of the channel. And we saw traffic going down, and we said, maybe we won't do it anymore. So I actually that Tuesday morning said, I'm quitting. I'm not doing this anymore. No one's watching. But for some reason, I sat down and I re-recorded again. I recorded later that afternoon, just for one last time. And right before I recorded, I looked at the analytics. I looked at the traffic for the night before, and they had gone through the roof. I literally broke down on camera and I said, boy, I had given up hope. It's sort of difficult starting and not seeing you're going anywhere. And boy, we saw the breakthrough. But it wasn't so much what I said on camera that day, it's what the viewers said in reaction to that early recording that I'm referring to. It was only a few days into launching this channel. The viewers said, yes, there's a message here. Yes, you are educating us, but there's a lot more. It's the sentiment that you're bringing to camera, that no one else was giving us motivation. No one else was keeping our spirits up. No one else was encouraging us. No one was telling us to push through. And for some of these were people who were applying for loans and waiting for loans to process, and they weren't getting them approved, and they had given up hope. And I said, don't give up hope. Early on, I used the finger a lot, way too much in the recordings. But the finger worked, and I pointed at them on camera. I said, don't give up hope. You will get your money. And they said that was the reason why they were staying with the channel, even more than the message. That I had given them encouragement and spirits and motivation during a pandemic that sometimes is very depressing. Sadly, there have been moments that I sometimes have not admitted on camera that are really sometimes too depressing to report, but they have happened. And if you've been with this channel from the very beginning, you've seen those moments happen. I've had people literally give up and close their doors, and then suddenly, by the grace of God, of something I've done, their business was saved. But then there's been situations that have been far more sadder. I had one viewer who in the comments that I read cold on camera admitted that her nephew committed suicide. I had another person named Giovanni who early on in the recordings left a comment, and I read it on camera, and he said his employees are having problems dealing with the pandemic, and one is considering committing suicide. I remember choking on camera and not able to continue, and I said, suicide's not an answer. It really isn't. And I said to that employee who was not a viewer, nor was the other person committed suicide, it was also not a viewer, I said, please seek help. Sadly, that person's choice of passing became their reality. It's that type of mood that sometimes comes off camera that I don't impart on camera. It's sometimes hard to digest and sometimes hard to deliver, and you don't know where is the place or time to deliver that message on camera. You try to express emotions, but you don't try not to interrupt the message because people have to ultimately be informed. But you can't seem callous and you can't seem lacking of caring. You have to be yourself, and being myself sometimes can be emotional, sometimes too emotional. And so what happens on camera is sometimes not what you expected to deliver. Ultimately, when you press that button to start to record, something may happen that you never expected to see. And that's what's happened in the last 3 months, is when I press the camera, sometimes I'm doing a cold read. I'm not reading the comments ahead of time, and I just don't know what's going to happen. And there you go. Ultimately, I hope this channel inspires a lot of people, because this channel reaches so many different types of people, whether you're on SSDI, SSI, or Social Security, whether you have very little funds, whether you're a business owner with 500 employees but can't even make payroll, and so you're worried about your employees not being able to make rent. There's so many different types of people that this channel touches, and so that's why I value your comments, and I consider it a family. I really do. Ultimately, the important thing to remember is to stay positive. It really is. Whether it's a backdrop that I give you that is inspiring, or whether it's a crazy shirt that I wear that keeps your spirits up, or my bad hair blowing in the wind one day and going to my face, whatever keeps you motivated and keeps your spirits up, I've done my purpose. Your focus now is getting forward and moving forward.
And that was 3 months into this channel. Looking back on that is a very fond memory, and I'm so glad that you have been part of this family. What I've learned during this time is do what you think is in your heart the correct thing to do. People in the first few days said, cut it out with the music, cut it out with the theme song, cut it out with the jokes, cut it out with that. I said, you cut it out, you get lost. And they didn't. They stayed, and they realized, no, he's going to do it a little bit differently here. And along the way, we had a lot of fun, and we had a lot of laughs. People said that first week, what are you going to do when we finally get our stimulus check? I said, I don't know. I'm staying. Are you staying? Well, I stayed, and you got another stimulus check, and then you got another one. And guess what? We're focusing on getting the next one after this. Thank you for joining on me on a big night of Evenings LA. Coming up next is Sirloin and Javita Light. They will be ready to rock your world and eat some grass. Or something like that. So circle bound around again. Keep the teal intact. Meatless tacos are, where they're going. And thank you for joining me on a big night of Evenings LA. Stay informed, stay focused. If you have not subscribed, make sure you subscribe. Thank you for joining and being part of this channel whenever you have joined us along the way. Make sure you subscribe, like this video, and consider becoming a member. Purple Hawk, Purple Power, Calcino VIP. Stay informed, stay focused, and I'll see you back in 2 hours from now. And stay with LA.